I thought I had it all, until the day I realized my world was built on lies. The evening was warm, the kind that lulls you into a false sense of comfort. We were at a rooftop lounge, surrounded by glittering city lights, an expensive bottle of wine resting on the table. My fiancée, Emily, looked radiant, effortlessly blending in with the high society crowd she always wanted to be a part of. I never cared for their empty conversations, but for her, I played alone. Tonight it was a gathering of her friends, lawyers, executives, influencers. People who measured success in brands, net worth and job titles. And me, I was a game developer. A profession built on passion, long nights, and an industry that many didn't take seriously. And that's when it happened. The moment that shattered everything. Emily swirled her wine, a sly smirk tugging at her lips. "Oh, you know Daniel," she said, gesturing toward me with lazy amusement. "He's still doing that little hobby of his, video games." "Right." Laughter rippled through the table. Someone scoffed, another chuckled into their drink. A hobby? The word hit like a slap. I had spent years perfecting my craft, pouring every ounce of creativity into my work. I built worlds, coded emotions, and created stories that millions of players loved. And yet, in one condescending remark, she reduced it to a childish pastime. I looked at her, hoping, praying that she would correct herself. That she'd notice the way my grip tightened around the glass, the way my expression hardened. But she didn't. She laughed along with them. One of her friends, a smug investment banker, leaned forward. "Man, you should get a real job. Or at least something respectable." More laughter. Emily didn't defend me. She just smiled, sipping her wine like it was the sweetest thing she'd ever tasted. The ground beneath me cracked. I had been blind. This wasn't the first time she had looked down on me. The subtle remarks, the polite dismissals, the way she changed the subject whenever my work came up. But I ignored it because I loved her. Because I thought she loved me. I was wrong. The night blurred after that. I barely spoke, barely moved. My mind raced, replaying every moment, every red flag I had brushed aside. How she never introduced me to her colleagues. How she hesitated before telling people what I did. How she always pushed me to consider other options, something more prestigious. We arrived home, and she kicked off her heels, completely unaware of the storm inside me. "You were quiet tonight," she mused, unzipping her dress. I stood by the door, watching her. "Why did you say that?" She turned, raising an eyebrow. "Say what?" "That my career is a hobby." Emily sighed, rolling her eyes. "Oh, come on, Daniel. It was a joke. You're being too sensitive." "A joke?" My voice was eerily calm. "Is that what I am to you?" She hesitated. "It's not like that." "It is," I said, stepping closer. "You've never respected what I do." "Have you?" Her silence was answer enough. A slow sinking feeling settled in my chest. I had been a fool. I thought I was building a future with someone who believed in me. But all along she was just waiting for me to grow up and get a job that met her standards. Something inside me shifted. She expected me to argue, to beg, to prove my worth. Instead, I smiled. "You're right," I said, my voice steady. "This isn't working." Confusion flickered in her eyes. "What are you?" I walked to the closet, grabbed a suitcase and started packing. "Daniel, stop." "You're overreacting," she snapped, stepping toward me. "No," I said, zipping up the bag. "I'm just finally seeing the truth." I walked out that night. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I just left. She called. Texted. Apologized. "It was a mistake," she said. "I didn't mean it like that." I ignored her, but I wasn't done. She needed me to beg, to come back groveling to prove that I still needed her. But I didn't need her. I needed justice. The next morning I made a few calls. I had connections to one she had no idea about. My company had been in talks for a major partnership with a rising gaming firm, one that Emily's firm happened to be interested in as well. And lucky for me, I was now in a position to influence their decision. Emily's firm had been aggressively pushing for the deal, and she was a key player in those negotiations. It was supposed to be her big break. I made sure they pulled out. And I made sure they knew exactly why. A week later, Emily's name was all over industry forums. Her firm lost one of their biggest potential clients, and she was under scrutiny. That's when she showed up at my apartment. "Daniel, we need to talk," she said, standing at my door with tired eyes and forced humility. I leaned against the frame, arms crossed. "Do we prefer?" She exhaled sharply. "I messed up, okay? I shouldn't have said those things. I was drunk, I was showing off. It didn't mean anything." I studied her. She wasn't here for love. She was here because her world was crumbling. "You only care because it's affecting you now," I said coldly. Her eyes flashed with irritation. "That's not true." "Yes, it is." I stepped closer. "You never respected me, Emily. You just like the idea of me. The quirky fiancé with a creative job, until it wasn't good enough for your perfect little image." She swallowed hard. "Daniel, please." I tilted my head. "Tell me, do you still think my career is a hobby?" Silence. That's all I needed to hear. I closed the door. 2 weeks later, Emily was fired. The firm needed a scapegoat for the failed deal, and she was the easiest target. She called again. I didn't answer. Then she sent one final text. "You ruined me." I stared at the words for a long time before replying. Number Emily. You ruined yourself. Months passed. My career flourished. My game, my hobby became a massive success. And Emily. Last I heard, she was struggling to find a new job. The industry was small and word had spread. Did I regret it? Not for a second. She thought I would beg. She thought I would break. Instead, I walked away and made sure she felt what it was like to be discarded. I lost something that day. But I gained something far greater. Myself.